Hi guys, Alice Taylor down at Lytham Golf Academy today. So you can see it's a lovely sunny warm day because unfortunately I've got my legs out, so I apologise for that up front. But today we're going to talk about how to strike your irons like the best players in the world by using the pressure that you create with the ground more effectively. So huge amount is made about not just how well the guys on tour strike the ball, but just how much kind of power that they generate. And I think more and more guys are aware that we create power by how we interact with the ground. So I've got the BodyTrack mat here. I'm going to hit 3 balls, showing you very much how a lot of guys I see use the ground and how they use their pressure, maybe not as well as they can. Then I'm going to show some swings actually using the ground better and actually moving my pressure more effectively during my golf swing. We're going to then look at how the pressure shifts in the swing, give you some swing thoughts and feelings as to how you can go about practicing that, and look at some numbers and see the kind of difference it makes, even with something as simple as a 6-iron, but you can obviously put this into all of your golf shots. So really what we're looking for at address, particularly with an iron, we're looking as we set up to the ball. A lot of guys have this misconception that the weight should be 50-50. Now obviously in the backswing you're looking to get the club moving away from the target and away from the ball. So it's actually, you see the best players in the world, they actually have a little bit more pressure on their left side. So a good way to feel that is as we address the golf ball, to just feel that you slightly press your left foot into the floor, maybe a little bit more than you would usual. That then gives us something to actually push against to create some momentum in the backswing. As the club moves back into our backswing, we're looking for the pressure to shift much more into the right foot. But it's more as we start down. As the club gets kind of down to, or your hands get down to waist height, the best players in the world get a huge amount of pressure, kind of at least 80%, maybe even 90% with some of the guys, into that left side. And then they can continue pushing against the floor, which creates the speed, but also gives us that nice compression of the club with the golf ball. Unfortunately, most guys do a pretty decent job getting to the top, but as they start down, all the pressure kind of stays in that back foot because they're trying to get the ball in the air. So my first 3 shots, I'm going to hit shots where I kind of keep the pressure back. And like I said, when we look at the numbers, you'll see the difference. So most guys set up decently, and then off we go. And eventually the weight still gets over there, you know, but it's not so much the weight shift, but it's where the pressure is in relation to the feet. I mean, some guys are even worse than that. Some guys will finish very back-footed as well, so the pressure never moves over. Very like that. And I can still hit good shots. I mean, my hands kind of compensate a little bit more. And distance-wise, you know, you'll see, I'll let some of the numbers pop up on the screen. It's not terrible by any means. But it's kind of quite high and yeah, they're decent shots. And I think probably most guys would be happy with that. But like I said, the big key, and if we're going to kind of replicate the best players in the world, and I'm realistic, we're not going to get this right every time, but it's something to work towards, is like I said, feel just that that left foot presses into the ground a little bit more at address. And then as you swing back, that pressure shifts into the right. But to start your downswing now, instead of feeling that you're turning your hips out of the way, which very often doesn't change where the pressure is, I want you to feel that from there you really press that left foot into the ground as hard as you can, and then that'll pull the club down, get the club on a better plane, path, you know, and help create more good shots and get more speed. So we're going to feel a little bit left foot pressure at address, get to the top of the swing, really press that foot into the floor as hard as we can. And it's just a very different strike. It just feels a lot more powerful. And even for me in my swing, I think this is something I need to continue working on. I mean, as I practice this, and I appreciate you guys haven't always got BodyTrack or pressure plate to practice on, but there'll be places nearby that I doubt I don't doubt you could go for a session and actually get some really, really accurate feedback. But one last one, and from the top, really going to press that left foot into the ground as hard as I can. Just feels very, very different through impact for me, and I think for a lot of you guys out there, it'll feel hugely different. So let's have a look at the numbers, kind of see how the shots related when I shifted my pressure, and let's also show you how the pressure shift shows up on Body Track, and see if we can get you guys striking your irons like the best players in the world. Okay guys, so we can see the 3 shots where the pressure wasn't really shifting. The average ball speed was 119 mile an hour, which isn't terrible by any means. Launching at 18 degrees, peak height 32 yards, 171 yards carry with a backspin of 5,300. So really some, very acceptable numbers. And so we can see this will be very, very typical for a lot of you guys out there. We start off decent 50-50 with the weight. The weight generally shifts quite well into that back leg. And then as we start down, we see the little bit of shift because we know we're trying to move the ball forward. But then because guys are trying to get the ball in the air, the pressure all starts to drop back towards that back leg. So at impact we can see nearly 60%. And then even through into our follow through, the pressure really staying back, hanging back, and just not allowing us to transfer correctly into that lead leg at impact. Now, as we move on to when I did shift my pressure well, we see the average ball speed jump up by 8 mile an hour, which is huge. We see the launch angle actually go down 4 degrees. So because I'm more left-sided, more shaft lean, launching the ball a little bit lower. Despite that, got more backspin. Hit a little bit lower at 29 yards, but I've picked up 9 yards extra. So we can see on the good pressure shift, a little bit more pressure into that lead foot to begin with, which is good. As we start back, we see a really big pressure shift into that right hand side, stay into that right heel, and then as I start down, we see a really big shift of pressure into that lead leg. So halfway down, we've got 75% pressure into that lead foot, and then down into impact over 90%, giving a much more powerful strike with much more speed and control on the club. Okay guys, so we've looked at some numbers there, and even though that's only with a 6-iron, that's quite a big improvement. Nearly a club longer. I think for me, like I said, not everyone's going to be able to get such precise feedback unless you've got one of these to practice on, or whether you're working with a coach who's maybe got access to this kind of information. If you're really keen on that, certainly find someone out that's got access, because it is amazing if you can use the ground correctly and how you use your pressure interaction with the ground. Not only do you pick up speed, but by doing it you'll improve your club path, your club face at impact, your strike. So just all round better golf shots just by influencing where the pressure is on the floor. That'll change how the club moves. Equally, you could work on doing something different with the club, and that's how the pressure with the ground will react a little bit differently as well. So guys, hope you've enjoyed this video. Really all about helping you hit your irons like the best players in the world. If you have enjoyed it, like and share it. Follow me on all the social media platforms, all under Ali Taylor Golf. Subscribe to my channel if you don't already. Hopefully catch up with some of you guys down here in the future. Stay in contact.